Well, good morning. Now we're completing the speech that the Rebbe gave on 1991, Tafshin Nun Aleph, about the Torah and why the Torah was given in the desert. And we said that the main purpose of giving the Torah was to fix up the world. It was to fix up the world, and more exactly, to reveal the truth in the world, that God is creating the world and God is infinitely good and caring and practical and vital and dynamic and healthy and real. And the world, the way it is now, it's not really so real. It's just sort of like how do you say, a hint, a vague sort of a rumor of what reality really is. What reality really is. Like, let's say a poor person in the streets, and he hears a rumor that there's some guy that he won like $100 million, and the person that says, well, maybe it's me, it could be me. He's so far away from the actual money, and it ends up that it really is him, but he's so far away from the money that doesn't know the identity of exactly who the person is that won the $100 million. So he just sort of lets it go. We're rich. We're beloved. The King of the universe loves us, and He's our Father. He's our Creator. He's our provider. He cares for us. Every single instant, He's creating us brand new. We don't even feel it. And then even more, when we do feel it, then we'll feel how important we are to the Creator. All of our potential will come out. We don't even know how much potential we've got. Like I've said so many times, a person uses only like 1% of his mind. And I say the 10% of his mind. So whatever percent is that, I say that uses even less than that. 1% of the amount of his mind that he uses, 1% of that amount uses his heart. And we'll take that, 1% of that he uses is his soul. So his soul is like, 1/10,000th of a percent or something. That'd make the concrete. And as our soul is latent, it's totally inactive. We're impressed by the most ridiculous things in the world, and we're frightened by nothing sometimes, and we're interested and excited about meaningless things, that the news, false news, fake news. People are so easily convinced to do things which are destructive to themselves. Well, the future redemption won't be like that. When Hashem, when the Creator is revealed in the creation, then we'll reveal how important the creation is and how good it is if it's used properly. And everyone will want to use it properly. Not like Adam in Gan Eden, when he had everything. The whole world was his, and he wasn't happy. He didn't use it properly. That was his big fault. But all Adam did when he ate from the tree was just cover over the truth. He didn't destroy the truth or make everybody evil or cursed or whatever it is. It's not so. He just covered it over. And we have to uncover the basic fact that the world is really good. And that's the whole idea of giving the Torah in the desert. The desert is this place where life is covered up, right? The ground in the desert no potential there, doesn't grow anything. Plant a seed in the desert, you just lost your seed, nothing. But if somehow that place gets irrigated and it gets properly fertilized and there's proper conditions, whatever, then all of a sudden you can realize there's tremendous potential there in the desert. And that's what the idea of the Torah is. The Torah is put into the world to show how important the whole entire world is. And that the Rebbe explained that's why the Torah was given with 10 commandments, even though God could have given it one commandment, the pure godliness which is in the Torah. That's enough for us, right? Why did he have to give 10 commandments? In any case, there's 613 commandments. Those are only 10 representative commandments of all the rest. Just give one. What do you have to give 10 for? Give one. And in fact, it does says that God did give it in one. It says God spoke one thing, and David HaMelech said, King David, one said, you spoke one thing and I heard two. In other words, really there was only one utterance, namely God. God was speaking. The same thing with the world. It says the world could have been created with one utterance of God, but he created it with 10. So both of them are to show the importance of God and the importance of the world. The importance of the Creator, which is totally unappreciated now, and the real true importance of the world, which is maybe even less appreciated now. All these other religions, at least they pray to God. They have some sort of an ideal. There's something above the world, but the world is bad. The world is bad. And Judaism says, no way. The world is essentially good. And God is even better. But not when God is revealed in the world, then that's even better than when they're separate. Okay, so here we go. Alpisa, according to this, we can now understand the reason why. Now we can understand the reason why God gave the Torah in the desert. Makom hefker, davka, kamudish, like it's expressed, like it's stressed on this Rosh Chodesh Sivan, the first day of Sivan, the month of Sivan, which is going to be not next week, but the week after. Shavuot, Midbar, that was the first day of Sivan. That was when, oh, someone's here. I don't know how to get rid of these signs. Yeah, you people don't see it, but there's all this these icons on the top over here, which I don't even know what most of them even stand for. But they cover over the whole top, and they cover over any one who's trying to get in. It covers over them. All right. Another one of the many trials and tribulations in Olam Hazeh. Here we go. So the first day of Sivan. The first day of Sivan is the next month. It's going to be next month. And that's going to be not this coming Sunday, but Sunday after. Is what happened on that day? Bo Midbar Sinai. The Jewish people came into the desert of Sinai. This is what, 1,330 6 years ago. 5 years ago. Bakriya the Shabbos. And then when we read Shabbat right before the Torah is given, that's going to be next Shabbat, it's Bamidbar, desert. The Torah is stressed about the desert, coming into the desert, not the mountain. Not when it says Torah was given on the mountain, yes, it was, but the main thing is being stressed is the desert. It was called the mountain of Sinai. Sinai is the name of the desert, right? Midbar Sinai. Why is it stressed so much that the Torah was given in the desert? In this part, we explained it before, the Midbar, that a desert, and we remember we said yesterday that Midbar also contains in it the word middaber, to speak. God's speech. So Midbar, which is a desert where you don't see any God's speech in the desert, nothing godly there, can be translated to middaber, that God spoke. That's the revelation of God at Mount Sinai. That's a real transformation. The desert is a makom hefker. And that's what we said, that the desert is a place where nobody owns anything. You leave something in the desert, that's it. It's lost. And the desert itself is, you can't take possession of a place in the desert. It's ownerless. Hainu makom she'ein alav balut. There is no ownership there. The lo reshut rabim. It's not like a public domain. Reshut she babalot rabim. A public domain means everybody owns it. Right? It is the possession of everybody. A desert is the possession of nobody. Obir in Yanim Torah, as far as Torah goes, it means like this. But in other words, Torah is a place where nobody goes. A public domain is where everybody goes. And the reason everyone goes into a public domain is because it's a place of people. It's a place for people. The more people, the better. And the reason there's nobody in the desert, because the desert is not a place for people. It's uninhabitable. It's ownerless because it's worthless. A public domain, exactly the opposite, right? You want to buy land in some nice place, nice town, right? But you want to buy it in a public domain, right, in the middle of the big city. So it costs you a lot of money because it's very valuable. A public domain, this hints at Dargas Torah, the Torah, that has some sort of a connection to the world. 600,000 Jews, like it says 10,000 Jews, 600,000 males from above 20 in the Jewish people when they receive the Torah. That's like a public domain. A public domain is a place where that many people go. That's one of the definitions of a public domain. as far as the laws of Shabbat go. In a Shabbat, for instance, you're not allowed to carry something from your house out into a public domain on Shabbat. It's forbidden from the Torah. It's a transgression from the Torah. It's called, but you can't do it. You can't carry from one domain to another domain. What constitutes a domain? So a private domain is a place where, let's say for one of the definitions, private domain is it's got four walls around it. What's a public domain? A public domain is a place where 600,000 people go every day. That corresponds to 600. You're not allowed to carry from one to the other. Connected, this corresponds to 10,000 letters, which are in the Torah, 600,000 letters in the Torah, which there's some way to calculate them according to, we use the vowels and the unspoken letters and things like that. Anyway, 600,000 letters in the Torah. And therefore, the Torah belongs to everyone. The Torah is the possession of people. It's valuable. And even more, it's an inheritance from God to the Jewish people. Dargat the Torah, this is the level of the Torah which is relevant to the world. Namely, the 10 commandments corresponding to the 10 utterances. That's a public domain. How the Torah is relevant to us, how the Torah is valuable, precious. What is a desert? Desert is the opposite. The desert is a makom hefker. Romans, this is a level of the Torah which is totally above any connection to the world. There's no value that can be put on the Torah. Invaluable. Or right of a Kodesh Baruch Hu, this is how God and the Torah are one. Now, just like God is not for sale, and you can't comprehend what, how much does God cost? It makes no sense. Jews have been willing to give their lives for God, for their Judaism. Everything they have, priceless. That's where the Torah is also united with God. That's this level of the Torah. Desert is showing not how the Torah is worthless, but how it's invaluable. There's no price you can put on it. That the Torah and the Torah and in the world reveals the Maimer Echad, the one word that God could have created the world with, that namely the godliness in the world. No, that's the essence of the Torah. And the one word of the Torah also. It's got no connection to the world whatsoever. Just the Kodesh Baruch Hu mafkira kiviyachol. V'al yedei zeh noten reshut shekol selakabel yavo v'yakabel. God just gave the Torah, and He said anyone who wants to receive the Torah can just come and receive the Torah. The Torah is, how do you say, it's invaluable. It's above any sort of value. And therefore God said that just like I'm invaluable and I'm everywhere, is also the same thing with the Torah. The Torah is invaluable. It is everywhere. Can't put a value on it. In that way, it's like the desert. It's like the desert. God said that the same way that I am above any sort of comprehension and I'm everywhere, available to everyone, so is the Torah also. Look, and therefore, Nitna Torah, that's why the Torah was given in the desert. But Makom Hefker, in a place that has no ownership. Before we said the Torah was given in the desert in order to transform the desert. But on the other hand, here we're saying something even more, that the Torah is like the desert. Just like the Torah is Hefker, just like a desert, it's a place where anyone can go and anyone can settle there wherever you want to. It's also the same thing as the Torah. The same thing with God. Anyone who wants to take part of God, take part of God. You don't have to be anybody special. You're created, that's it. Same thing as the Torah. It's, so to speak, ownerless. Nobody has individual possession of it. It's open for anyone to take. Kadei, in order to remez, in order to hint to us, shashlemus amiti, the Kabbalah's the Torah, that the really complete idea of the receiving the Torah is kishemakablim gam dargas the Torah, only when you receive the whole Torah, also this level of the Torah which is totally above the world. If you receive the Torah and you use the Torah for if you leave out from the Torah the godliness of the Torah, the aspect of the Torah which is totally incomprehensible, totally miraculous and mysterious, then you've missed the whole point of the Torah. In order to receive it, God had to give it in a place which was hefker, totally ownerless. Why? To show that the Torah is not a logical thing, even though it's the whole Torah is logic. It's hi chachmatchem and binatchem. So somewhere down in the essence of the Torah is the real essence of the Torah, the whole essence, namely that it's God. What we can say is the Torah. That's the whole purpose of giving the Torah in a place which is ownerless. This is really going to be in the future. This is what's going to be revealed by the Mashiach. It's going to be a new Torah that's going to come from you. What does it mean, a new Torah? So incidentally, it does not say anywhere in the Torah there's going to be a new Torah. It says the Torah will come out from me. And there's a midrash that says Torah chadasha me'itetetze. It comes from a midrash. Let's see this 109. There's a pasuk from Yeshaya. It says Torah me'itetetze. The Torah will come out from me. And the Vayikra Rabbah in the midrash, it says that a new Torah will come out. What does that mean, a new Torah? What type of a new Torah is there going to be? It says exactly the opposite. Mashiach is going to build a temple. And the temple is going to be all these laws. And all the Jews are going to come back to do the Torah. That the whole thing of the Mashiach is that all the Jews are going to do the Torah. They're going to do all the laws. All the Jews will keep Shabbos. All the Jews will put on tefillin, the males. All the Jews will eat kosher. They'll all do all the laws of the Torah. So what does it mean there's going to be a new Torah? What does it mean, new Torah? Everyone will feel that the Torah comes from God. They'll feel that the Torah is coming from God. Shalamayla, it's above, totally above the world. And therefore, Netinato, giving it into the world, is by means of Me'itetetz, is going to come from God's essence. Sheotzeis Merishuto, so to speak, it comes out of the possession of God. Even God doesn't possess it, so to speak. What does it mean? Who possesses it if not God? In other words, God makes himself totally available and open to anyone who wants to learn the Torah. Jews, we're talking about Jews. According to this, we can also explain what it says. It says in the third month, on that day, they came into the desert of Sinai. Therefore, it says, Vayichan Sham Yisrael, the Jewish people, he camped there. It doesn't say they camped. It says he camped. The Jewish people camped as one person. Vayichan Lashon Yachid. Ke'ish echad b'lev echad. That the Jewish people like one person with one heart, one desire. Hoil, the sins. The Jewish people were one. Since the Jewish people hated arguments and they loved peace, therefore, Nasa, they made a encampment. They camped as one. Hainu asha she'etein lahem et Torah. That's when God gave the Torah. Okay, what's happening over here? The Jewish people, it says especially, listen, every human being is different, right? But especially by the Jewish people. The Jewish people, every Jewish person is different from every other person. And every Jewish person has a different idea and a different, how do you say, personality and worldview than every other Jew. A lot of them, they're similar. They're similar in a lot of aspects, right? A lot of aspects, right? But they can't be exactly the same. They're always different. Everybody has different ideas, and that's a good thing, because then everybody can receive from everybody else, and everyone has an obligation to teach everyone else. So everybody looks at a little bit from a little bit different viewpoints. This can be taken two ways. One way, like I said, it can make harmony. And the other way is that it can make, how do you say, disharmony, cacophony, whatever the word is, just total confusion. Total confusion. So to avoid this confusion, what people do is they make political parties and people that have like somewhat similar ideas. In other words, they agree on a lot of things. So they get together and fight against people that disagree with those same things. And so you get arguments. This is especially in Israeli politics, you can really see it. Maybe it's everywhere, but in Israeli politics, they have all of these political parties. There's, I don't know how many there are, 50, something like that, political parties. And they always have to limit it, that you have to have a certain number of votes and everything. But if not, there's who knows how many parties there are, and then the parties subdivide and they divide up and they divide up because everybody has different opinions. Everybody has different ways of doing it. Okay, on one hand, this is good because everyone can contribute a different way of looking at things, not always as a dictatorship or a monarchy good, because if the king is wrong, then everybody's in a bad situation. So the Jewish people have all these different opinions. As soon as the Jewish people decide, hey, let's do it like this. You can have your opinion, you can say your opinion, but let's all trust Moses, right? Let's listen to what Moses has to say, and it should sort of wake up some sort of a truth inside of us. And let's see if it does, and then we can put forth our ideas, etc. That's what we see the Talmud. Talmud is all these arguments, but it's arguments in a good way. Everybody expresses a different way of looking at things, and from that they come to the truth. Says that's exactly what it was before the Torah was given. Before the Torah was given, everyone appreciated everybody else. Everyone appreciated, and if you didn't appreciate, at least you respected. You respected everybody else. How do they say? I don't agree with you. The famous saying by, what is it, Nathan Hale or something? I do not agree with what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. So every Jew, somehow they all got along. They were like one person with one heart. And where was the heart? The heart was to God, to Moses, right? Whatever Moses said, they knew that was the word of God. Okay. So and so they were willing to listen. So and whatever it was, even if they didn't agree, still they had the desire for harmony. Key, in order to receive this level of the Torah, which is above understanding, like the desert, it's just totally above any sort of comprehension. I mean, just think about it for a second. What did God have to make deserts for? You can understand why he made forests. There's some sort of a use. What in the world is a desert for? Absolutely no, not just empty sand, deadly place. I mean, the scorpions are maybe appreciated, except for that. What do you make deserts for? And it says that really in the future, that all the deserts will start to be fertile. Will be fertile and they'll grow because that's one of the big problems with these people. They said there's not enough food in the world. Well, if you could transform all the deserts, then for sure there's going to be enough food in the world. And so what does he have to have a desert for? So the answer to the question is it's above understanding. It's above understanding. But a person, in other words, you have to go out of your understanding. That's the whole idea of the Torah. Make yourself like a desert. A desert is a place which is ownerless. Make yourself like a desert. Oh, let's see this. We got over here. Participants, Baruch Hashem. I'm going to have to mute someone over here. Nothing personal. Someone, there we go. Okay. Okay, so again, the Torah is not just a book of the Jews. The Torah is not just a book of religion. It's the book of our heritage, and it is all those things. It's true, it is all those things. It is. But the main thing of the Torah is pure God. The Torah is pure godliness. And it cannot be possessed by any particular person, just like the desert can't be. And it's totally above any sort of comprehension what the Torah is, even though it's a big commandment to understand it. The whole essence of the Torah is understanding. So let me see what this thing is over here. That's what's called surrendering yourself. You have to make yourself like a desert. What does it make yourself like a desert? Think only about the truth, not thinking about yourself. Somebody says something bad about you. Somebody says, I'm like a desert. Right? I'm just here waiting for someone to fertilize the place, water, a seed, something. Ultimate, like I'm nothing. This brings about peace. Not that you don't have an opinion. You do have an opinion. You can say your opinion. You can be assertive, but you're assertive a way that you realize you're like a desert. Nothing is mine. I have this idea. right? It's not. It's an idea that I have. Who is I? Who is I? Like a desert. There's not. I don't know. I'm nothing. I don't know how I got my mind. How I'm alive. It says that's the whole purpose of the desert of the Torah. The Torah is to put this feeling inside of us that we are really just like a receptacle, like nothing whatsoever. Without God, we're like a desert. You see that, and when that happens, then there's no arguments. You're willing to listen to another person's opinion. Kisibas and machlokas. The whole is yeshut atzmo. It's a very famous, I don't know if this is a thing, but you can maybe call it the Facebook syndrome, right? Everyone is Facebook. Facebook, everybody attacks everybody else. It's ad hominem. They call it ad hominem argument, right? Somebody says 2 and 2 is 4, and the other person says, yeah, but you're a criminal. You're an idiot. Don't tell me 2 and 2 is 4, right? 2 and 2 is 5. But what do you mean? But mathematics is 2 and 2 is 5. I know your mother. I know your father. You're not. Right? It's an ad hominem argument that you have there. Why did they do this? Because everybody the person is egotistical and he doesn't like himself. So he wants to, how do you say, misery loves company. So it says, but if you're an egotistical person, that's what makes arguments. Shlilas says, if on the other hand, you realize that everything you have is from God, so you say your opinion. I mean, you have an obligation from God to say what you. All your days by means of this, Nasa Roy, you become fitting or mukshar the Kabul Dargas the Torah to receive the Torah, which is above any connection to the world, which is the Tina B'Makom Hefker. Even though the Torah, the preparation of giving the Torah is by means of bittul, we said surrender, shlilas shamatzius, namely negating all of your existence. What does it mean negating all your existence? You say everything I have is just a gift from God. Anyone who wants to receive the Torah can come and receive the Torah. Like it says, who is the most humble person in the world? Moses. Who is the most talented person in the world, maybe ever, is Moses. Moses was able to go on the mountain. He was able to lead all the Jewish people in the desert for 40 years. Who could do a thing like that? He was able to bring bread from heaven. You don't find anybody with those talents. And it says that Moses was the most humble person in the world because he realized that everything he had comes from God. And that we can certainly do that. That's why, that's the whole purpose. Anyone who wants to come and receive, come and receive. That's the Torah. The person should be able to kabbalah to adam. You should be able to receive the Torah, and you should receive other people also. Not like the thing of Matan Torah. When God gave the Torah, 1 second, somebody just came in here. Oh, there we go. God, the holiday of Shavuot is the holiday of giving of the Torah, Matan Torah, Natinat the Torah. Asher Natan Lanu at the Torah. God gave us the Torah. Who received the Torah? That's the whole trick, is that we have to receive it. God is willing to give, but we have to be willing to receive. Shebezeh, that in this it's stressed. Shegam Dargas the Torah, also the level of the Torah, which is above the world, can be into the world. By means of learning the Torah with understanding the ad until the achirush b'Torah, that you can actually make up, reveal, discover new ideas in the Torah, new connections. Right? The reason it says over here, and it contradicts what it says in another place, is because it's trying to bring out something different. Oh, that's called the Chadesh b'Torah, make a new ideas, reveal new aspects of the Torah. The Torah is understanding, and understanding one idea gives birth to another idea. Remember, we learned that in the Kuti Torah, the Jewish people come from God's thought that says it's always moving. Yesh Lomar, we can say, I don't think we're going to have to finish this next week. Yesh Lomar, we can say, Yesh Lomar, we can say, Shabesa Katzavos, that these two, how do you say, poles, opposites, namely, on one end, we have to have bittul, we have to be totally surrendered to God and be nothing. But tokav ametzios, and we have to, on the other hand, be very powerful and assertive. This is also when we read Parshas Midbar, Bamidbar, right before next week, right before the holiday of Shavuot. Why? Sheshema Parsha, because the name of the Parsha Bamidbar, in the desert, that's next week's Torah portion. This is because what? Vayedaber, that God spoke in Midbar Sinai. This indicates on the ultimate level of bittul, like we said before, that you're nothing. Midbars are like a desert that everyone just can step on it. Anyone can go there. No one's going to stop you. The Tochen Parsha, the whole idea, the whole sport, you want to take sand, whatever you want, sand. That's what you want to take from the desert. Go and take sand. Nobody? It's ownerless. The Tochen Parsha, that's the name of the Torah portion. It's called Bamidbar, like a desert. You're nothing. The Tochen Parsha, but the content, until finally it comes to count the Jewish people. That sometimes that's why a lot of that in English it's called numbers. And also in Hebrew, sometimes it's called Chomish Pekudim. It's called the book of Numbers. And in Hebrew also, this indicates on the Tokef of Messias, number means that everybody is counted. Everyone is a number. A thing which is counted is never stops. It always retains its identity. But Godel HaChashivas, and it's very important. Because why did God count the Jewish people? Because they're so dear to him. This includes all of the Jewish people and every single individual Jew. So if so, in the Torah, Bamidbar, there's two things. One, it's talking about the desert, and other times it's called numbers. Numbers means that every Jew is numbered. You're all important. You count by God, like they say in English. But you count by me. They still use that term. I don't know. I want to show that I count, right? That I'm a number of so. Sheyesh Los, if we can say, Shabbeis Kasavos, that these two poles, namely that we're nothing and that we're very, very something important. This is stressed by the old two reasons why we read Bamidbar on the Shabbos right before the giving of the Torah, right before the holiday of Shavuot, Atzeret. Lo Remez, this hints at us to the giving of the Torah in the desert. Lahavsik, why do we have to read this? Because reading Bamidbar, this separates. Remember, we said that who was it in the name of Rav Sadia Gaon? Was it to this to separate between the curses of the Torah and Bechukosai and Atzeret? Remember, that's how we started off this week. Remember, we had a break in the middle, and we said that there's two reasons why they read Bamidbar right before the holiday of Shavuot when we receive the Torah. One reason is because the Torah was given in the desert and to stress humility and to stress lowness. And the other reason is because to separate between the curses that we're going to read this Shabbat in Bechukotai, 49 curses, to separate between them and the holiday of Shavuot. So therefore they read Bamidbar. So Bamidbar becomes like a shield against these curses. Baharem, as this hints at, the giving of the Torah in the desert, right? I'm sorry. It separates, it's a shield. And this is hinted at also by the fact that Torah was given in the desert, a place which is ownership. This shows on one hand that that the Jewish people are surrendered to God. We have nothing of our own. We should make ourselves like a desert. But now when we make Bamidbar, the Bamidbar is a shield between the curses and the end of this week's Torah portion and the receiving of the Torah that's going to be after the Parsha of Bamidbar, as this is stressed at Metziut, the 10 utterances that we are important. If we read Bamidbar immediately before, that's one reason, to show that we're nothing, that we received in the desert. If we use Bamidbar as a shield, it means that God wants to shield us. We're very important. That there had to be the separation is because the Torah is the source of all the blessings, and therefore Bamidbar separates the curses that we could receive and the blessings of the giving of the Torah. Kamudgash, like it's stressed, and the Torah begins with the letter Beit, Bereshit, and that's the first letter of bracha, of blessing. Heichel, beginning from the blessing, the main blessing, which is stressed in the letter Beit. What's the letter Beit? Bereshit. That it's closed off on all the sides, but it's open on one side. This hints at the world. The world was created by God in a way that it's completely closed off. It's finished. And they say it's complete on three sides, except for what's called the northern side. In order, Shabbat Adam, that in a person, Kadei, that a person Yashlim v'yasovev gam, that we should complete this open side of the Beit. God purposely left the world unfinished so that we should finish it. Shebazeh, this stresses that how important we are. Tokef Metzius, that's why God gave us the Torah. On one hand, he gave us the Torah to show that we're nothing, that we're just receiving. On the other hand, he gave us the Torah. We're tremendously important to God. That by means of the Torah, the world can be surrounded by its four sides, right? Like the letter base, that we can complete the godliness in the world. God won't just be sown 3/4 of the world. Lo natinas makom, then there won't be any place for any evil. Katsir, like the letter mem, like a final mem, which is in Isaiah. There's one prophecy that says over there. Let's see what it says in Isaiah chapter 9. So it says over there, it's like the marbe amashura, that there will be increased, what do you say, honesty. And the word marbe, right? It's over there. Where are we now? What happened over here? What do we do? Yeah, mem stuma. It says the marbe. It starts off with a final mem. Usually that's only at the end of the letter. Marbe means there'll be a lot. The mem was closed. A mem in the middle of a letter is open a little bit. See, like this. But the final mem is closed. This shows that the Mashiach is going to close the world up totally from all potential of bad. The mem stuma in the middle of a letter. This hints at the future redemption. Shana said that it will be by means of our service. We're the ones that are going to take out the letter bait of Bereshit and complete it and make it into a mem. Who finishes the Adam? Adam starts with the letter Aleph. That's the Aleph we've been talking about in the previous weeks. Aleph put the letter Aleph into the XL Gola, and that makes Geula. So what's the Rebbe saying? The Torah on one hand brings us total surrender to the creator of the universe. We are absolutely nothing. On the other hand, the Torah fills us up with the creator's blessing and even more with his power to fix up the world. That's why we're here, to fix up the world. And when we fix up the world, which doesn't take that much, all we have to do is put good into this terrible world, not to be intimidated or discouraged by the apparent flood of darkness all around us. Not to be intimidated. Our job is to put a little bit of light. Adam, that's our job. And when we do so, is with the power of the Torah and with the humility that we also get from the desert, and we're protected, it says, by this humility. It protects us from the curses. That's what brings the future redemption. Yesh the kasha. Let's see where we are up to now. Yeah, we can finish. We can finish. Here we go. Let's go. Yesh kasha. We can connect this, what we said before, with what we should actually do. Up to now, we've been thinking. We've been talking and thinking and thinking and talking and talking and thinking and understanding and contemplating. But what about doing something? Let's do. What do we have to do? Lahakil kehilut bakol Shabbat, to gather up children, people every Shabbat. Lekanes bebeit knesset, to go into the synagogues and places of learning, and to teach them Torah. Teach Torah, whatever you want to, anything in the Torah, teach Torah. Kolel, including also that says Hamidu Talmidim Harba, that you should make a lot of pupils. Asher im devorim omorim, if this is said on Shabbat, and Shabbat, that from it is blessed all the days of the week. I'm sorry, this is the Shabbat, the Shabbat on the Shabbat from which is blessed all of the days of Matan Torah in the next Shabbat. How much more so? How much more so? I'll try to send you pictures. I hope I do it next week. Every year, I used to have a Chabad house in a city called Or Yehuda, right next to it. I did it for 3 years, and I was very successful with children. With other people, it wasn't really such a big, But again, that's not. Let's talk about positive things. With the children, was tremendously successful. Tremendously successful. They invited me to all the schools, and especially before Shavuot, before the holiday of Shavuot, they used to gather these children into synagogues, and I would come with a guitar and a microphone and a little speaker over there, and I would sing a couple songs, and they would say sentences, and I would tell them a little story and this and that, and the kids would scream out Shema Yisrael. It was just amazing, just incredible. And this is especially the few days right before Shavuot, and the schools there were non-religious. Now it's changed. The whole thing has changed over there. They're mostly, but I'm going to go this year. I'll try to take pictures and have the sent to you. This, we have to gather up people before Shavuot and to arouse and to, how do you say, encourage and to speed up in every single place that on Shavuot, but you should tell the children. Remember, that's what we did. Tell the children that there's going to be the reading of the Torah and they're going to read the 10 Commandments to the children. And of course, how do you get all the children to come together? You give them, what is it, a popsicle or something like that. Wait, the kids go crazy. You give them a popsicle, what they call it over here, I forgot what it's called, a glida or something. No, not that glida, that's ice cream. A carjon. Anyway, I'll think of it later. You give them a popsicle, you say everybody who comes, they're going to get a prize and a popsicle. The kids come, hundreds of kids come. And the kids that never come to synagogue, their parents don't come to synagogue. Their parents don't even know where the synagogue is. And the kids all come and they listen to the 10 Commandments. Right? This is the Rebbe's idea that they should. It's not the Rebbe's idea, it's Hashem's idea that everybody should gather up Jews and to feel that they're receiving the Torah. And all the Jewish children, She'em Arevim, that they are the ones that are the guarantors for the Jewish people for receiving the Torah. Our children, they are guarantors for us. All of this is stressed by these. You have to have the two poles, these two, how do you say, opposite, diametric opposites, you want to call it, in our personality. Number one, you have to have bittul, that you're nothing whatsoever. And on the other hand, that you're something. You're important. You have the Torah. You're a Jew. You're here to fix up the whole world. You can't fix up the whole world by being a nothing. That's what we say, Maimar Echad, that God created the world with one utterance and with 10 utterances. That we said before. On one hand, you're nothing, that's godliness. On the other hand, 10, the world is important. You have to fix it up. On one hand, you have to have bittul, you have to be totally surrendered to God, that's stressed in the uniting of all the Jewish people together. Every Jewish person is open for every other. That's what it means to gather up groups, and especially by means of the uniting all the Jewish people, the men, the women, children, when they read the 10 Commandments. Hainu, on Shavuot, the holiday of Shavuot. That's what we're talking about. To gather the children together and tell all the children, make gatherings of children and tell the children in these gatherings that on the holiday of Shavuot, there will be special readings of the Torah for children. And in the Chabad houses, that's what they do. They make, like in the afternoon or something like that, one special reading that the children come out, they take out a Torah and they read just the 10 Commandments. Nobody makes a blessing. Sometimes they do. I don't. Hainu, namely, she's achdus, that the uniting is lo rak imanashim, not just in people, religious people like us, and people that know how to read the Torah. It says to gather Jewish people together. It says that, and to teach them Torah. But I'm saying, says the Rebbe, to gather even little children and even babies, that they should all come together in the Torah, the Tarikh of the Bittul. But of course, this implies that you have to have the person who's reading the Torah. He has to have a loud voice, and that he can read over the cries of the little children, because little children come in, and etc. But usually it works. It works 100%. Everybody hears. The 10 Commandments is not that long. Read the 10 Commandments. It takes a minute, 2 minutes to read. Well, the Girsa, on the other hand, biyachad, together with the total surrender and the uniting of all the Jewish people, is stressed also. The surrender is also the uniqueness of every single Jew on his own, that each and every one has to receive the Torah. When God gave the Torah, he spoke singular. I am God, your God, not in the plural. Elokechem doesn't say your God, plural. Anochi Hashem Elokecha, your God, singular. That each Jew has to understand and grasp in his own way of understanding what the Torah is, and until he can actually reveal new ideas in the Torah. Each and every one according to his ability. May it be God's will. And this is the main thing, that the decision, that the resolution that each and every one of us makes to add in uniting all the Jewish people as a preparation for receiving the Torah. By the way, that's the reason that in Israel, Chabad does not enter politics. The Rebbe said in Israel, the word for political party is a miflaga. Miflaga is peleg. And we're here to unify the Jews, not to make them. So on one hand, all the Jews are exactly the same. They're all Jews. We're all sons of God. On the other hand, every single Jew is different from every single other Jew. right? Ein partzufeim Shavuos, ein deoteim Shavuos. Just like their faces are different, so their personalities are different, their opinions are different. So we have to have both of these together. Total surrender, not only to God, but each person to the other. And on the other hand, to be very powerful in your opinion to what your opinion is. And that's what it means, that you should hate arguments and love peace. Machloket doesn't mean arguments, intellectual arguments. Intellectual arguments are good. It means arguments with the heart, that you can't stand another person just because he's different from you. But Timayer, this will encourage and hurry up. That's, by the way, what a fanatic is. A fanatic is a person that cannot listen to any other opinion except for his own. That's what brings the arguments in this. This will bring quickly and immediately the negation, the end of this terrible exile that we're in. And the reason for the exile is because there's the opposite of loving every Jew. And it'll negate the reason by negating the reason, so it'll negate automatically. You pull out the plug, automatically the bad stuff is going to stop. Take of him immediately. There will be the true redemption by means of Mashiach Tzidkenu. That then will be the whole true idea of the giving of the Torah, a new Torah. And simply, what does it mean? That before the giving of the Torah, before Rosh Chodesh Sivan, right next week. Now we're in this Shabbos Mavorchem Chodesh Sivan. That's going to be next week. By the Rebbe, it was this week. The Shabbat Parshat Bahar B'chukotai, right, is we will merit to the promised goal. And what it says in the Parshas Bahar, Ki tavo el ha'oretz, it says, when you come to the land of Israel. Ubetchalat Parshat B'chukotai, in the beginning of Parshat B'chukotai, namely, that God will give the land of Israel, and it'll be a fertile land. It says the land of Israel is going to bring out in the trees, there's going to be loaves of bread and beautiful garments, right? And they say trees that are not fruit trees, they'll start to give fruits. And a continuation of this, it comes in Parshas Pekudim, then Bamidbar, says the counting every single Jew. Like it says, Aten Tilukatu, this is the hint of what Isaiah says, that God will gather up the Jews one by one. All of them together will become one Kahal Gadol, one big group, until that will be what's caused that's going to be they'll find the 10th number together with the 10th song. It says the string of the Mashiach will be 10 strands. The Asiri Yakodesh, that the number 10 will be holy, and this will be by the Melech HaMashiach. Quickly will come Omen King Ratzon, and immediately we'll see that the Mashiach is already here, says the Rebbe. And each and every one of us will point to his finger and say, here, this is the Mashiach. So the Rebbe is saying Mashiach is already here. It come to Zman Matan Torah, will come to the actual really giving of the Torah, all the Jews together in the Holy Land, in the holy city of Jerusalem, on the holy mountain, in the holy house, Beit HaMikdash, and in the Holy of Holies, that's where the ark is with the tablets, that's where the Torah really is, that this will be B'chukotai, the letters, and it'll be carved out, the carved out letters, and each and every Jew will be revealed. That's what it means, the new Torah, the Torah of Mashiach that'll teach all of the people. Will feel the godliness in every letter, the godliness in every commandment, until Halimud Me'akodesh Baruch Hu, that God Himself will teach everybody. Me'ite teitza, like it says, Lo yilmadu od ish et re'ehu. People won't have to teach one another because everyone will know God. Lo yekanef od morecha. Your teacher will not be concealed from you anymore, and your eyes will see at morecha, that everyone will see the Creator. Taketh umiyad mamash, immediately, right now. So thank God we finished that. Maybe we finished it a little bit quickly, but you can go back and learn it. The point that the Rebbe wants to say is, the whole thing depends on the Jews and on the Torah, but the goal is the world. The goal is to fix this world up and make it holy. No one will be left in exile, and no one will be left in heaven. All the souls will come back to the world. We'll see that being in heaven is also a type of exile. It's revealing, it's not the true level of truth. And as we'll talk about more, God willing, next week. Now let's do the Yom Yom.
Shabbos. Shabbos also.
1 minute, 1 minute. We have, yes. Moshiach can come today, yes. Yes, that's right. We'll see about the story. Maybe I'll tell you a short story. We'll see. Here we go.